Garrison operates from the second floor of the Criminal Courts building with a small, partly amateur staff. His investigation is largely financed by private businessmen and seems puny compared to the vast Warren Commission probe he's trying to overthrow. Yet he obtained an indictment against his first suspect, Clay Shaw. The key witness was Perry Russo, a young insurance salesman who says he overheard Shaw, Oswald, and Ferrie plotting the assassination in New Orleans 2 months before it took place. He was hypnotized to help him remember. A supporting witness is a Negro convict and dope addict. The Shaw case is only part of Garrison's conspiracy theory, which is, briefly, that a well-financed right-wing group staged what amounted to a coup d'etat by killing Kennedy, and the U.S. administration hushed it up. It begins with the assumption that Lee Oswald knew Jack Ruby, the man who was to kill him.
Let me first make a reference to Oswald's address book, which is in volume 16, XVI, and it's Commission Exhibit 18. Now, if you turn to page 40 in this volume, page 40 being page 40 of XVI, you will see the number written in Oswald's handwriting, PE 81951. PE 81951. If you go to XXV 25, the Jack Ruby's phone calls, you will find that on June 10th, 1963, Jack Ruby called PE 81951. That's the same phone number that Lee Oswald has in his address book as printed in volume 16 of the exhibit. Perhaps the more significant example to us is the fact that Ruby and Oswald have been seen together. But I cannot go into that at this time because we get into an area of evidence which I'm not free to comment on. But
you have witnesses, however, who have said they've seen Ruby and Oswald together.
Oh, yes.
In Dallas or here?
In more than one city, if you don't mind my putting it that way. Now, another connection to come from another direction is the fact that Jack Ruby had a business acquaintance named Bertha Cheek, and there were several real estate transactions in which Jack Ruby and Bertha Cheek worked together, and they know each other in a business way, and that's been established without any question, because you can even find that in the Warren report. Now, Bertha Cheek has a sister named Earlene Roberts. Earlene Roberts was the landlady where Lee Oswald was living when he was killed at 1026 North Beckley. So you have there the case of Bertha Cheek being a business associate of Jack Ruby. Bertha's sister is Earlene Roberts. Lee Oswald is staying at Earlene Roberts' house when he's arrested. So again, there's another correlation.
Isn't this just a coincidence, however, rather than something more solid, like somebody who'll swear they've been seen together?
Any one of these, actually, this is what you call circumstantial evidence, and your question is certainly a good question to ask, but the answer is that circumstantial evidence is actually, to man who's practiced law, circumstantial evidence is actually more binding and harder to get away from than witness evidence, because sometimes the eyes can be mistaken. You say, is this coincidence? Any one of these factors of correlation could be coincidence, but the steady accumulation of them is not. To sum it up, it is impossible that they did not know each other. How wide is a conspiracy? It is finite in the sense that it has limits. It is not such a huge thing that it is unsolvable. On the other hand, it is considerably wider, I think, than the average person might have assumed. The best way to describe the conspiracy, and I guess I'll have to be blunt about it and come to this, the major factor in the conspiracy which made it work was the use of Minutemen.
How many Minutemen, Mr. Garrison, are involved as far as you know?
Well, I can't possibly speculate on that without hurting opposition, except to say that there were Minutemen in the Dallas area and some in Louisiana that coordinated on this operation as individuals, and it was extremely well financed. There were individuals in the Dallas Police Department, like a grapevine coming down the side of the building, which had relationships with each other and also relationships with the individuals who killed the president, who killed Tippit, and who killed Oswald. And this structure is what allowed it to occur so effectively, because it was a pre-existing secret structure of individuals who had trained with arms, who were militantly opposed to what President Kennedy was doing. This was the ambush that the president was in. He was shot from at least 3 different directions, which is perfectly obvious from the medical testimony, although the final conclusive evidence has been concealed, naturally, the autopsy photographs. But he was shot from at least 3 different directions in the ambush, and there was no way for him to have survived.
Well, you maintain that Oswald did not fire a shot that day. Why, if Oswald was part of the plot, didn't he fire too?
Well, first of all, Oswald was not part of the plot. Secondly, he did not fire a shot at anyone, not only on that day. He never fired a shot in the preceding year or in the preceding 2 years or since he got out of the Marines, as far as anyone knows. A number of the individuals who accomplished the shooting were previously connected with the Central Intelligence Agency, many of them connected in their training in Florida. And those are some of the individuals whose names we have, and I judge by now they know we have their names. The thing which seemed to have bothered the United States and caused a major world power to participate in such a lowly fraud, such an indescribably low fraud, was the fear that the reputation of the United States or the Central Intelligence Agency would somehow be damaged when it came out that former CIA employees were involved in the assassination, and that individuals with control over Oswald, CIA employees, were involved, and that Oswald was working for the CIA. So the United States government participated in one of the greatest lies in history in order to save its face. One of the files that you cannot look at, grounds of national security, is entitled Oswald's Availability to Information About the U-2. Oswald's availability to information about the U-2. Now, this is supposed to be just a young man who was just another Marine, although we found out now that he was taught Russian by the United States government. And he's supposed to be a man who was a communist defector, and you just couldn't rely on him, and he's just so unreliable. And all of a sudden we find that he has had access to information about the U-2. I never had any access to information about the U-2. I've never seen a U-2. What's the difference between me and Lee Oswald? The difference is he was working for the Central Intelligence Agency. Oswald is always shepherded. He's even shepherded when he goes down into Texas by an individual who just left Montreal, Canada. But again, in New Orleans...
Who was this individual?
Well, this individual is a man who used the name at the time of John Howard Bowen, but his real name is Albert Osborne. But anyway, in New Orleans, the custodial group includes Mr. Ferrie, and he's one of the people who was helping to let Oswald be de-Dallasized, and secondly, acquire the identification as a communist, in quotes.
The number of people who have died since the assassination.
It's quite clear that there is a systematic program of murder of individuals who are likely to tell the truth to an investigative government agency, which at the moment is only us. There's no question about the murders having occurred, and I expect that there will be more, probably.
Where do you think this investigation is finally going to lead?
It is going to show the world that President Kennedy was killed as a result of a conspiracy, a very carefully organized a plan in which individuals whose relationship with each other was largely secret worked together in a coordinated way. Individuals who had a fusion of motives to fight the holy war against communism and to assassinate a president who, in their judgment, in their, I think, twisted judgment, concluded that President Kennedy was selling out to the communists. This is the sort of view they had.